Okay, today we are back on the Deuce Coupe. Now I posted a short yesterday over some of the stuff that I've done already, and I will go over that here momentarily. Let me show you what I'm doing now. Right now I am trying to determine what I need to make the seats out of the 2005 Mustang work in this car. When I bought the seats, they were a deal. I only paid like 50 bucks for them. They came with a set of seat tracks for a 2005 and a set of seat tracks for a new Edge Mustang. The electronics are pretty butchered in them, so I'm going to have to go with manual seats in this one, which is not a big deal, but the problem is I only have one manual track. That's for the passenger side. I'm currently trying to make it work. Pretty straightforward. I drilled a couple of holes in the seat bed, bolted them right up. This right here is a piece on the 2004 or 99 through 2004 Mustangs that is not present and is actually in the way for bolting the seat back onto this one. So I've gotten my grinder with a cutting disc on it, cut a slot on it. Let's bend this off now. Throw that piece on the scrap pile. Now I've got room to bolt up the seat. Of course, now it's just sitting in there. The headrest will not be present. We are going to remove that when we get it upholstered. I can actually shim under this using square tubing or any number of things to elevate the front of it up just a little bit. But that basically is where she's going to sit, a little bit to the outside of that, because the seats are very, very wide. Here in just a moment, I'm going to sit the other seat on that side just to show you how much room we have. But that's basically the idea. This is the driver's side seat right here, and unfortunately I do not have tracks for it because I have the electric tracks right there which do not work, and I've got two others, both of which are electric and are incompatible with this seat. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to order an inexpensive universal track bolted to the bottom of this one and then bolted to the car. This is the general idea. Of course, the other seat will sit up higher once it gets a track on it, and I can adjust the height however I want. But these recline. The driver's side will be adjustable forward and backward. Without the headrest, they'll fit in there just nicely. I'm going to build a console, or actually I'm not, the interior person is going to build a console right here that will mount this, which is my electric windows, which I wired up yesterday. Now, insofar as what we've gotten done so far, in the interior and exterior for that matter, everything is wired with the exception of the air conditioner. I'm about to tackle that today. I've also got to wire in this yellow wire that's dangling here to a button on the dash somewhere that allows me to program the gauges. But the gauges are wired, horn is wired, lights are wired, signal lights are wired, hazard switch is wired, ignition is wired. The electric windows work. Everything is hooked up except the air conditioner, and that is next on the agenda. On the outside, of course, as we've touched on previously, headlights are wired, signal lights are wired, everything works, tail lights, brake lights, everything works. So with the exception of the air conditioner, the wiring is 100% complete. Even the signal lights inside the mirror work perfectly. All right, seats are back out. Here in a little while, I'll get online, start shopping for some inexpensive universal seat mounts for the driver's seat. A little bit of spillage there. That is from the ruptured bladder for the lumbar support in that passenger seat. No big deal. I'm not going to use that anyway, and if I decide to use it, we could put another kit in it. Now we're going to clean up in here, tape my connectors up, that way they look nice and neat, and then I'm going to start wiring in the air conditioning and hook up the vents. Okay, now that wiring is much more manageable and ready to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and run wires for this. As far as mounting the vents go, it's simply a matter, there is a lip right here underneath the dash. It's simply a matter of drilling holes, mounting the screws to it. There's one that goes here, this main one goes here, and then of course one over there on the other side. This kit did come with a defroster, but as you can see with this particular car, there just simply isn't enough room to mount a defroster underneath here, so I'm not going to run a defroster on this car. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish the wiring up. You've seen me do wiring many times. I'm not going to bore you with that, but let's go ahead and get started and get the wiring hooked up on this. After this, the only thing I've got left is the trinary switch underneath the hood, which controls the air conditioner, driving the fan, and checking pressure and things like that. So I'll hook that up as well, and we'll get going. Well, we're back after several hours. A lot of work done, primarily that stuff that you've seen me do 1,000 times, which is drilling holes, hooking stuff up. But the good news is I've tested everything. Everything still works. We're good to go, so let's do a rundown of everything that works. Okay, key is off, so the only thing that should be working on this are the hazards and the lights. So let's hit the hazards, which is this switch right here on the side of the column. They're working inside. Lights, got lights everywhere. Horn works. Okay, now when I turn the ignition key on, what it should do is I should have the fan blower for the air conditioning system, which of course is not working yet because it is not charged, but I should have signal lights, and I'm not going to bump the starter, but I've already verified that works, so actually I could go ahead and do that, but I've got some things under the hood that are too close to rotating assembly, so I'm not going to bump the starter, but I already know that works. So we turn the key on, left signal light, right signal light. This is what I've done new. The air conditioning vents are hooked up. That wire right there, that's my yellow wire, still has to go to a switch that I've got to mount in the dash, which I will do momentarily. This right here, of course, I've got to tuck this up under here and get everything nice and neat. I have not done that yet, but I've got my vents hooked up. You come down here, turn on the blower motor. I've got multiple speeds, air coming out of every vent. So all of that should be good to go. The only thing I've got left to do on the hooking up of the air conditioning system, and actually the last thing to do on any electrical part on this, is this wire right here. I've got to hook to the trinary switch, and there's a ground that goes to that. That should make that work. This wire right here is not going to be used. I'm going to eliminate it. I've got a bunch of wires dangling out the side here. None of those are used. What those are is that's radio, which I will be putting a radio in it eventually, so I'm just going to run those to where they terminate somewhere safe and sound. Others, such as the neutral safety switch, this being an older model car, I'm going to have to bypass that. The yellow wires are to door locks, which I don't have, and the one yellow wire is to the passenger side switch for electric motors on the windows. That one is not going to do. I forgot to show you that. Again, let's look at this. Key on. This is my switch right here for the windows. And the driver's side, that's the driver's side, now the passenger side. So those are working as well. The reason this particular switch is run to the center of the car, I may have mentioned this before, we're going to build a console for the center of this and mount that radio and other things in. So the wires right here, these yellow ones, are not going to be used. There's a couple more here that are not going to be used, such as power antenna and things of that nature. There is radio connections I'm going to be using and some other things, but once that's done, I'm going to terminate the ones that are not going to be used up safe and sound, where they're not connecting anything, and they should be good to go. Now, as far as looking on the outside, let's turn the headlights on. Come over here. And as you can see here, I've got headlights. I'm going to flash the headlights, and then I'm going to turn the hazards and the signal lights, etc. as well. This is the package. Signal lights. Got a lot of room. This is the passenger side signal light. The brake light, the back lights, as you can see, are already on. That is for the tail lights. What I'll do is I'll try the signal light and the hazards and the brakes. That's the signal. Hazards and brakes. Now we will move to the other side. See the tail light right there. I've got to walk in front of the camera for just a second. Signal light. Hazards. And last but not least, brakes. Also, you can see here, this is the light for the license plate illumination. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the last little bit for the lights, which are the signals on the door mirrors. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way. And we'll show that one first and then the other side. So key on again. Signal light is on, as you can see by here. And of course we've got the signal light here, but we also have one right there. Same goes for the driver's side. Right there. Next step on the Deuce Coupe. You might ask what's next. Well, first I'm going to hook up that trinary switch, get that ready to go. That's a little bit less critical because that won't do anything until I get the air conditioning system charged, and that's after I get the car running and a bunch of other stuff. So that's going to take a while. I may go ahead and wire that up just to have it done. Also, I'm going to be hooking up the transmission cooler lines, pouring fluid into the radiator and everything, getting this thing prepped to start for the first time. Now, in addition to that, I'm going to be cleaning up on the inside, picking up all my tools and all of that, and then I'm going to be putting down cool mat inside the car, just like I did on the Cobra, to enhance noise reduction, as well as keeping heat and cold out of the car, depending on what season it is, of course. But we've gotten a lot done. The dash is back in. The air conditioning system is connected, that's the heater as well. It's all connected, ready to go. So let's just keep on plugging. Thank you for joining me. Be sure and hit like and subscribe. I got a lot more content coming, stuff on the Cobra coming soon. I've got to get my daughter and her significant other down here to help me lift the body back off of the Cobra so I can go ahead and start routing all the wiring and everything on that. So we've got more coming. Please stay tuned.